This is Expedition Everest at the Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World. We know for a fact that Expedition Everest is 199.5 feet tall. We also know that the real Mount Everest tops out at 29,032 feet. So from that, we know that Expedition Everest is 145.5 times smaller than the real Mount Everest. The question that was posed to me a couple of weeks back was that if you scaled up Expedition Everest to be as tall as the real Mount Everest, how big would the rest of the Animal Kingdom be if it was scaled up along with it? So let's find out. Before we get into numbers, I need to clear something up. Technically speaking, you don't go to the peak of Mount Everest on the ride.
On Expedition Everest, we, the guests, come to this Tibetan village that surrounds us because we want to get to Everest, which we can see right through the pass. There's these entrepreneurs in town, Norbu and Bob, they're ready to comply. However, Everest is reached through the Forbidden Mountains, and all the local Tibetan people, they're freaked out. And they don't want us to go, and they're worried about the Yeti, who they think is really real, and they think he's going to get us.
All that to say, the top of Expedition Everest isn't supposed to be the top of Mount Everest. And since the main mountain of the ride is fictional, we don't know how tall it's supposed to be. Of course, that kind of ruins the premise of the question I was asked, so for the fun of the video, we're just going to pretend that this whole thing here is Mount Everest. Anyway, let's start at the top, the Animal Kingdom as a whole. The Animal Kingdom is 580 acres or 2.3 square kilometers. Scaled up proportionally so that Expedition Everest was as tall as the real deal, the new Animal Kingdom would be 340.5 square kilometers, or just over 84,000 acres. That's over 5.5 times the size of Manhattan. The parking lot of the Animal Kingdom, sitting at 438,000 square meters, would scale up to around 64 square kilometers. That's a parking lot about 2/3 the size of Walt Disney World altogether. Now imagine losing your car in that parking lot. Good luck. Discovery Island, at 54,000 square meters, would jump to over 7.8 million square meters, or nearly 2,000 acres. That's 12 times the size of Disneyland. As for the Tree of Life on Discovery Island, that tree would go from 145 feet tall to 21,100 feet tall, or nearly 6,500 meters. The Redwood Hyperion in California is said to be the tallest tree in the world at 379 feet. So the Tree of Life would be about 55.6 Hyperions tall. Or if you want to go by man-made structures, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai stands as the tallest building in the world at 2,716 feet. So the Tree of Life would be nearly 8 Burj Khalifas tall. So, pretty tall. But let's talk about everyone's favorite part of the Animal Kingdom. A land filled with detail and crafted with care. A wondrous place that transports you all together to a land that definitely doesn't feel like Disney anymore. Dino-Rama. The theme park area that was meant to look like a rundown carnival area that has since become an actual rundown carnival area is 6,300 square meters, or 1.5 acres. Scaled up along with the rest of the park, it would become over 900,000 square meters. That's 228 acres. That's a Dino-Rama that's over twice the size of the Magic Kingdom. I don't even know what you would put in a Dino-Rama that big. A lot of expensive carnival games, I imagine. As for Pandora, the floating mountains of the Avatar-based land measure at 156 feet, or 47.5 meters. So in the scaled-up Animal Kingdom, those rocks would level off at 22,700 feet, or just under 7,000 meters. That's actually higher up than the actual floating mountains in the movies are supposed to be. Now, scaling up the park this much would obviously make for some longer experiences. For instance, the Maharaja Jungle Trek, which is a walkthrough attraction, would suddenly be a 33-mile or 53-kilometer hike. So at a nice steady pace of 3 miles per hour, you're looking at an 11-hour walk. Talk about spending the whole day on one attraction. The Wildlife Express train and its nearly 1-mile journey would become a 138-mile or 222-kilometer train ride. considering that the train itself travels at around 8 miles per hour, you'd better plan to be on that train for a little over 17 hours on a round trip. But neither of those compare to the Kilimanjaro Safari. The original attraction comes in at just around 1.8 miles or 2.8 kilometers. That means the scaled up version would be 259 miles or 417 kilometers. In a normal car, that would be a long drive, but nothing too bad. However, the Safari trucks are limited at a speed of around 10 miles an hour, so that Safari adventure would take nearly 26 hours to complete. I imagine that after 24 hours, Disney would just charge you for another day of park entry, because it's Disney. So I guess the moral of this video is that maybe it's a good idea that Expedition Everest, and by extension the whole Animal Kingdom, isn't built to match the scale of the real thing. That would be one big theme park. Although maybe those negative 30-degree temperatures you'd experience on the roller coaster would be a nice break from the Orlando heat.